No. Just Thursday.
So, yeah, I thought about that later.
I commented it. Sell that for somebody who wants to buy a whole. That just to get it to the barn. True value. 120 acres. Yeah. Yeah. Serious. Price tag goes up quite a bit when you get that much. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's just it. They know that. The areas in the
Call this meeting to order, Stuart City Council special meeting, tentative agenda, Monday, January 23rd, 2023, 6:30 p.m. Council chambers. Call to order. Dolly.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Morgan. Here. Renslow.
Here.
Agenda approved. We'll need a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renslow.
I'll second it.
Mr. Patrick. We go. Dolly.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Morgan. Baba.
Yes.
Renslow.
Yes.
Okay. 2023, 2024 budget workshop.
Okay, we all got that thing that saved the bathroom. This is really what we talk about every year in our budget work session. That's what we discuss. The budget, when it goes to the state, it looks like that. We take this information and put it into the whole budget and submit it to the state. So if we go to the first page, shows what our valuation is for this year. 2A shows our valuation came to 18,071,138 compared to last year, which was 22,646,426. So we got 4 million less than last year. That, of course, result in reduction a little bit in the money we receive in the general item number 5. We received 146,000 in last year, we received 183. So reduction of 37,000. And then we stayed within the 8.10 rate for tax levy, which is the maximum we can levy for. If we choose to go higher, we have to go through a lot of different channels and all the stuff. Most cities stick with the 8.10. We go to item number 23. That's a Stuart Public Library. That's what the people voted for. At the rate of going 27, we levy from the 18 million, it gave us 4,879. And then item 26, we levy from the valuation of the ag land on item 4A. We have 551 ag land by valuation. We levy at the rate of 3.0. We get $1,656. We go to item 28. So we levy at the 8.10. The state allow us to levy for some money. They call it emergency money at the same rate of 0.27. So we get $4,879. And then we go to item number 30. That's the FICON IBUS we levy this year for 49,000. The actual number, this is half of the actual numbers. We go down to item number 40. That's where we levy for our debt service. This year we levied for 280,000. I try to kind of take the recommendation from chair to don't levy for that property insurance and health insurance for the full amount we levy for. We're supposed to levy for 250 when we levied only for 150. And I will show you how we came up to item number 42, all the way to the right. The tax rate will be 14.60. That's the same tax rate like last year. So we kept the tax rate the same. We didn't increase it.
And that's the tax rate that Chip had discussed previous?
No, Chip recommended to go another 88, 90 cent higher than that, 15.
But that's where that number's coming, that's the number we had talked about moving.
Yes.
It is.
Chip wanted to be 90 cents higher on 1,000, right? 1552-ish. 51.
That's right, 1552.
And that's something we have to decide whether we're gonna do tonight.
If you want to, I'm giving you the tax rate that I think will accommodate everybody because his reasoning for 51 is to, instead of levying for 251,000, he wanted to reduce that dollar amount to 150. I was able to do that amongst using the reserves to keep all the triangles together. He got the same concept he won by reducing the tax levy on that.
No,
There's another element that involves TIF that that benefits from a higher city levy. So it's the council's decision what you have the levy at. If you have it at 1460, it's hard to do the TIF projects that are being asked in the city.
Let's go through the budget and then.
no, I'm just making sure I'm understanding.
Hey,
You can decide.
I have a question, not that we control it. Why is the valuation today so much?
Well, that's because asking for a lot of things. That's about it. You know, we ask for TIF, you know, that's every time we ask for more TIF, you get less valuation. So that's kind of, but when we go through the budget, you will see how I got this whole thing together.
I think Chip has something to say.
I think,
Can you come to the microphone?
so we've got little bit of a better understanding with the TIF askings. You'll guess, I think we wanted to receive, we'll be receiving more TIF than what we wanted. And we got the understanding from both county auditors, there's a particular form they want to see, and we'll know next year. The TIF certification I put together in October, November, Ash takes that, puts it on a department management form. There's a particular one that's a new form that they want to see. So we'll know to do that next year, and that'll keep our TIF asking right on target what it's intended to be. For next year, for FY '24, we'll be getting more TIF dollars than what we have, or what we expected, I should say, is the better way.
So we'll let you go through the budget, and then the council can decide if they bring it.
Yes. You go to the next page, this is something people max, property tax, levy max, and the state came up with this. Just take from page 1, the regular for the general and debt emergency and the debt service to show the public that did you increase it from last year or decrease it? It shows decrease here, but we're still gonna publish it. It shows on item number 14 all the way to the right, minus 14. So we really decreased what we're asking for. And the reason for decreasing, I put it in the explanation. When you levy is less than last year, you're asking for less. So I put it here, explanation, that taxable valuation have decreased and levies based on valuation have decreased accordingly. And that's kind of the explanation to that. But in a way, it's a good news that we didn't increase, we decreased. You go to the next one here, you see the revenues on item 1 through 3 is very much what we are asking for in the general fund from the first page. It's just distributed here, you know, the 151, the special revenue, and the 280. So that's coming from page 1. Item number 5, column E, 1.9 million. That's what you're asking for TIF. That's what we certified for levy for TIF, 1.9. Then you go to item number 11, column C, that's what we anticipating to get from hotel and motel tax. Item number 12, 255, that's what we anticipating to get from local option sales tax. These numbers based on estimation we received from the state. It's not a hard number, but it's very close to what we're gonna get. Item number 14, column C, license and permit, that's the building permit and all that stuff that we issue. And item number 15, use of money on property, 27.7, that's what we get from interest or CDs, from rent, etc. You go to item number 17, column number D, 231, that's what you're gonna receive from road use. Very much anticipated number we received from the state. It goes with the capita. This year was $130 per capita. So you take that, we'll give you the 231,664. Item number 18, these numbers 19 is going to the right 6, goes to the right 35. This is every year I kind of explain it, and I never change my explanation, which is we get a formula from the state telling us, remember back long time ago when they said that businesses and they're not gonna pay 100% taxes, they're gonna pay 80, and then all the cities came and complained about that. They said, okay, we're gonna reimburse you that 20% or 25% that different than you used to have. We used to have 100% collection from the businesses. Now it's 80, 85, whatever calculations they have. He said, okay, we're gonna give you a little bit of money to offset. They gave us a formula to follow, and we take from this formula and put it in item number 18. And hopefully we'll get that money. I don't know if we will or not. This is just, we're following the state calculation. Item number 19, that's local grant and reimbursement. This is where we get the townships and for fire rescue and library and all that stuff. Item number 27, 127,000. This is what we collect from the garbage collection. Item number 33, we received 270,000. That's a charge for service. This is where rescue unit, you have charge for service. Swimming pool, we have a charge for service. All that add up to 270,000. Item number 36, miscellaneous 51,000. That anything that I couldn't find any place to put it, we put it under miscellaneous, and we have a lot of the miscellaneous that we see. Transfer in and out, this is something that, if you look at item number 78, 55,000, that's for the position that we have for the economic development. We receive money in the TIF, and then we take it to the general, item number 77, column number F, 1.1 million. We receive the money in the urban renewal fund, in the TIF fund, and then we take it to the debt service fund to be paid at the debt service. So the transfer in and out is a wash out. That takes care of the revenue. On item number 21, 22, 23, column I, that's the water, sewer, and electric. Water and electric, that's utility business, approves their budget. Ours, number 22, is 411,950, increase from last year because we will be getting reimbursed from the debt service we pay. You know, I think Chip explained that in his presentation that we care for the debt service from the sewer department. So we get that money and then transfer it, and we do the whole 9 years, so the sewer doesn't pay for any debt now. But actually they do, because we have that other bond issue that sewer and rescue pay for. We'll go to the next page, which say expenditure, page 1. Okay, what I did here is trying to, this is the year where we need to use our reserves. We had reserves for reason, to come to a point like this year and try to use our reserves, okay? Our reserves is very healthy. We are 1.6. That's how Chip,
1.6 million.
yeah, that's how Chip presented to you. That's what the number is. So we're not making things up. So I decided to use the reserves because this is the time that you start to fall back on your tools that you can use. I gave 7% to all the departments. And I discussed that with Dolly, so our discussion over the budget. That if we're gonna use the reserve, this is the time to use it, and this is a time where you really have to use it because you're going through Corona and you jump off the Corona and get the recession nationwide. So you need to give them little bit of a token to use because in their budget, they're facing these things, they're facing the recession. If he owns any department head, if you wanna go get office supplies, he's gonna face higher increase. And that's coming out of his budget. So he needs a little bit of help, and I decided to give 7% to all the departments. So whatever they submitted to me in the budget, they all gonna be happy because they got 7%. Some of them got more than what they asked. But I made it across the board here. If you look at the police, column C, 2,075,000. That's 7% on the top of what he got last year.
And we take that and so if we look at their budgets that they submitted.
Yeah.
This is his number, this 273.
Yeah.
And so he's getting more than he asked for.
Except with all of it. You go to fire department, 58, he's getting more than what he asking for because I'm basing it on this current budget.
Hold on, I wanna go to his,
He asked for 37, it's the next
Hold on.
year.
can we wait just a second here?
Yes.
I wanna make sure I'm going through this. So it's 47, he asked for 47, but he asked for plus the township, so.
Yeah.
He only gets, the fire department only gets 17,000 of city money,
Now it's gonna be 18,000 something.
so now it's gonna go up to 18.
Yeah, he gets
So
7%.
even though it shows 58, 850,
No,
that's
this is
not
his
what they're really
operation.
getting from the city,
Yeah,
right?
he
I wanna make
been,
sure that's clear.
yes, he's been operating as a self-sufficient for the last 29 years that I've been here. The city gives him 17,000, he's gonna get 7% on the top of that.
So when you look at these other people, police department, do they get hotel motel tax?
Yes, so as a fire.
So,
Fire rescue.
so they get hotel motel, they get 22,000.
Yeah.
So they're only getting whatever this 275 minus the 22, that's all they're getting from the city? Or are they getting 275 from the city?
275.
From the city?
Yeah.
So what I don't understand is why on the budget does it say that the police is getting 275 from the city, but the fire department shows 58 when they're really only getting 18?
Because that's what the operation is, because they get the hotel tax in the saving account, in their saving account.
But doesn't the police get it too? Am I,
Yes, but the
Not
police
making
gets
sense.
it in a form
I know
of
what you're saying.
reimbursement.
I know what you're
do you,
saying,
do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
it's confusing because if we show all these departments getting money from the city, but the fire department, and I don't know about rescue, I haven't looked at rescue, but the fire department shows the motel, hotel inside of its,
So I think what you're asking is the amount that the police department is getting, does that also include hotel motel? Or is it strict?
Include hotel and
So
motel.
Okay.
275
Okay.
includes a hotel?
that's what I'm trying to understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. You go item number 6, column C, 362,000 for the rescue, the same 7% on the top of current budget that they have.
And he asked for 323.
Yes, because we added that new position to it. Item number 8 and 9, that's just a washout account, 1,000 for animal control, that's washout account. You go down to 12, column D, that's a 231,660 that we're gonna receive on the road use, assuming we'll have a project to spend them. Do we anticipate that? We don't know because we're going through all that county issues and all that stuff. But I usually make it a washout account that we receive the road use, we spend it on the street. Item number 18, street cleaning, that's the street department. same 7% on the top of last year. Item number 20, that's garbage, that's sad amount that according to, it doesn't change, that's what we collect is what we pay. Go down to item number 31, column C, that's a library. They got 7% on the top of the current budget.
But they asked for more than what we gave them, right?
Yeah, just $1,000 more. He would be happy first. 33 is parks. We usually budget for 5. I give him 7%. Became 5, 350. Recreation, that the swimming pool, same thing. Cemetery, same thing. Go to page 2. Item number 40, column E, 1.9. That's the money we're gonna get from the TIF. We're gonna pay to meet our obligation. That's a wash out account. Item number 52, we give the 7% of that general government, which is the general operation, kind of. Same 77%. Item number 54, column F, debt service, our debt service is only 280. But this is the money that we will be transferring, as I explained, from the TIF to debt service to pay. So we have to show it in the budget. But our debt service is 280. Next item is 55, all the way to column G, 2.5 million. That's anticipation of phase 4. If we went through everything, I'm anticipating that we might spend 2.5. Could be more, could be less. We don't know yet until they decide really where they're heading with that number. But 2.5 is enough because now you're gonna have it, if we go up to the summer and even started, it will be 2 months and then break in the winter and then go another 2 months. Talking about if there's been 2.5, that will come. If there's been more, we amend it. That's kind of to make everybody feel good about it. So, but hopefully she will decide really what the direction is because as we speak now, I didn't get any direction of where we're heading. What we're gonna do with phase 4. But we can always change it. You go to item 59, 60, 61, all the way to column I. That's where the water and electric, you don't have anything to do with. The spending for the sewer, item 60, column I, is the same, it's a standard, but we raise it a little bit to 7%. You go to the next page, adopted budget is the same, last 2, 3 pages that we talked about, just combining with one page. What you're gonna get from the revenue, what you're gonna get from the, what you're gonna spend, and then what you're gonna be using, which shows minus on 32, shows minus 71. On the one that we're gonna show to the state, it will be showing 231. This one here, just because it's a worksheet, it's not allowing to put things in one place. But you will be seeing 300,000, and that's really where you will be using from the reserve account, is the 300,000. You go to the next page, you will see the breakdown of your debt service. Okay. If you go to item number 1, column K, this is the fire truck. This is what we levy for.
The new one?
Yes, and it didn't change much because we took the old one, made off, and put the new one. So it didn't affect much. Go to item number 3, column K. This is where the key that Chip was trying to demonstrate at the last special meeting, which is he wants us to take that this number should be 251,000, like last year. He trying to reach the goal that let's not levy for 251, go down to 150, one of his 3 options. So I did accommodate that. I took it down to 156. So that should meet that requirement of having TIF, in my opinion. And then you go down to column number 9, sorry, A all the way to K, and that's where the $90,000 we levy for, that's has something to do with the loan we issue for the police department. Okay, so you will see already you only levying for 3 items. Okay, using the TIF will allow us, sorry, using the reserve will allow us to meet this recommendation from CHIP on the 156,000. It should be 251,000. But we're using some of the reserve. Okay? 33 didn't affect much because we took one and put one. 90,000, that's the police. And last year we didn't levy, and we going to levy this year. And then with the progress that we have of the ticket, camera, all these things, every it went through, you should be okay next year to deal with that. And I spoke to that subject to Dory. He's a finance council member, that's why I sat with him and we talked about this. So if you go back now to page 1, this is where I got all the tools to meet the triangle that I always say, which is keep the tax rate the same. If I'm gonna use reserves, I might as well use it to get the triangle. You got the tax rate stays the same. You met some of the requirement from a CHIP that you didn't levy for what you should levy. You should levy for 251. We've been doing that for the last 2 years. We levied for 150, so I hope I made him happy. And then I improved the service by giving them 7%. And all that will go out of the reserve of 300,000. Your reserve is 1.6 million. I worked 29 years to get you to 1.6 million. Today, I'm telling you, give me 1 year to use it. So you need to do that. You need to kind of get that triangle to work, especially if I'm trying to make everybody happy. Bottom heads are happy. I don't see anybody complaining because they got 7%. Tax rate stays the same. Reserve still strong. So this is my take, and then you guys can decide what you want to do.
Do you wanna say something?
My only issue is one of your 2 essential services, you're expecting to run off of $18,000 a year.
No.
Yet, we have the smallest budget out of anyone in the city, yet we have the biggest reserve.
Yeah.
So something may be wrong there, just saying.
No.
But you gave me an extra $1,000 this year.
12, no, almost.
10% of $1,700 or $1,700. So $1,200, whatever. That barely buys a quarter of a set of bunker gear.
Well,
And I understand you guys are buying us a truck, but you bought the police department vehicles, you bought the ambulance vehicles, and that's not out of their budget. By August, we're what? Normally $17,000 in the hole. I think this year we're $33,000 in the hole by August because of our air packs. It's just we've been at that $18,000 mark since what? Early or late '80s,
it's like they had it to me this way.
right?
They had
I
it
mean,
to me this way.
That's why I said plus the hotel motel township money, because that stuff is mandated by the state for you to give to us, correct?
Yes, and to be
So-
fair to the council,
That $47,000 plus that would put us more along the lines of our surrounding departments with the
but
budget.
to be fair to the council in this presentation, all your township and all your lump money that goes to your savings. And you guys control that and do whatever you want to do.
And I mean,
So,
up until the 2013 truck we bought everything out of our own pocket. And if our budget would have increased throughout the last 30 years like everyone else's has, we'd probably still be able to buy that rather than put that on the taxpayers of this town, is what I'm getting at. I mean, you're sitting $200,000 in savings, another, if you would figure that out, Chip, you're the numbers guy. But, 2-3% raise over the course of the last 30 years, we would have been able to buy our last trucks. We would have been able to purchase, the station, stuff like that, without coming to you guys with our handout, and do we come to, I've been writing some grants, I got I've got a couple of them. Do I come to you guys and be like, hey, you want to pay this out of general government because I know of other departments that have done that and they have paid it.
Like I said, just to be fair, is all your loan money and all your hotel and hotel tax, all is supposed to saving account. The other department, we don't do that. It doesn't go to the saving account. It goes to the operation.
Well, because they use their entire budget. So I mean, if we were to use all $200,000 of our reserve, which isn't going to be $200,000 for long, because we're putting money towards the fire truck. So if we use that $100,000 this year, are you guys going to cover our shortfalls in the years to come? That's what I'm getting at.
When I came here, that was the only question that I answered, and I answered no. After 29 years, I proved to you as a fire department and to everybody that we never touched the fire department money. 29 years I've been here, I told the fire department from 1,000 to 200,000 in the saving account without touching, because that was a misconcept from everybody when I came here. Our money in the saving account gonna be touched? I said no for as long as I'm here. And I've been here for 29 years.
Which, I mean, I know when Jim, you know, they were lucky if they had $50,000, but radios didn't cost $5,600 back then. You know, within the next couple of years, we're gonna have to have all new gear, all new radios, that sort of stuff. You're looking at $130,000 right there just in radios and gear. So, I mean, our savings may deplete pretty quick, is what I'm getting at.
I hope not.
And
because
I know other departments, if they need something, they come and ask you for it, you know, you pay for it above and beyond their budget. So I just want to see fairness throughout all three emergency services at least.
I don't think the other services have savings account. You're the only one that does.
It's because we're
Right.
we're good with our money, right? And the billing helps that as well.
But I'm just saying,
We buy what we need, not what we want.
if you let me finish
Sorry.
here, but they're not getting all from townships and everything else. They don't go into a savings account like what you're getting. So what I'm hearing is, if you want to forfeit that and bring it to the city, you'll probably increase your budget.
And we're still going to be over budget because things cost so much.
Well,
You understand what I'm saying there?
Right.
So we try to save as much money as we can, because if a pump goes down, you know, you may be looking $15,000, $20,000 to replace that pump.
but you're trying to compare apples to apples, and it's not apples to apples. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I'm trying to say, you know,
Right.
that we give him all the money to the
Right.
savings
the
account,
savings.
and that's a privilege. You know, that you got all your money to your saving account, that's why you look at the financial statement every month, you have the highest dollar amount in the savings account compared to those of the.
So what happens, just saying, what happens, they have this big chunk coming out of their savings account for their truck that they are putting down. Now, because it's gonna be required that they're gonna need 700-watt radios, both them and the rescue. They buy their new bunker gear because they're gonna have to have it, because that's a life-saving measure. They have to have their bunker gear. They have to have their radios. Their savings account gets depleted. Where's the rest of the money gonna come from for their radios and their gear that they're gonna need? I'm just throwing it out.
No, I get it.
I mean, it'll come down real quick. And here last year, we just said, okay, police department, we know you need radios. It's a life or death situation. We paid for the radios. So what happens when their savings account goes bye-bye because they need all these life-saving measures?
At this point, you start to look at the budget and
So that's something maybe not right now, but you guys need to look at as a council, because the cops, the EMS, the fire, all of us are under strict rules through NFPA and all that other stuff, where our mainline pumper can't be more than 10 years old, which you're pushing right now, which we bought another one, so that's going to be, you know, taken care of. Air packs, you know, you buy 10 of them, $88,000, $90,000, you know, those are only good for 10 or 15 years. Granted, we're set up good now, but I just think we need to look at a bigger picture. You know, put some money aside for some of this stuff. I understand we have that savings account, Ash, but that savings account, if we have to go buy a new ladder truck, or we have to go buy this, the ladder truck we have sitting down there that we found for $60,000 is $1.6 million right now to buy new.
What I'm trying to say is, I look at it not just from the perspective of fire department, I have good caution for fire department, and I have good caution for the town. So if, to answer that concern from Councilmember Denslow is, if we get to this lady, they will be looking at it from the city bigger size. I'll be able to come and tell you out. But as we speak, and you just said it, that we're comfortable, we're good.
We are, it's just,
I respect your opinion of looking at it in the future. I hope I will be there, and I will, because I said that 29 years ago, that I will continue looking at it. I have my eyes open, that I'll never let you down.
I'm glad that, you know, you have the ability to give all these departments 7% this year.
And
But
you
you know, if, exactly, we could put that 2% or 3% on a yearly basis, it may be more beneficial than every 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it may be, a lump sum of 7%.
Why not? No, no.
So,
That's what we're
I mean,
working on.
I'm trying to look out for the city as well, but
That's what we're working on, you know, is to try to improve things. It just, in the last 3-4 years, you will all go around. The nationwide is going through a roller coaster, and I don't know, and that's kind of, we came, 2020, I was sitting, it's like, I never had this corona before. I don't think anyone here experienced that. I came to the city hall, I don't know, it's like, what we do? I was asking myself, what am I gonna do? You know, we went through this year with, don't know even what we're gonna get as a revenue, we're gonna shut down, and we're still managing to make it, you know, today, after 3 years of these things, I'm saying, thank God, we got over it. Now we start to pay back to all the department to get it going, you know, by that 7% and all these things. We're trying to make it work with all the difficulties that we're facing as a nation, not just Stuart. I think it's a good budget, in my opinion. I think it's got all the element in a budget to make everybody happy. I know we're never gonna make everybody happy, and I know, but we're trying to just get the citizen happy, get the department head happy, get the reserve strong, we're not messing with it, build on it more, hoping with the other issues that we have, more, why I'm recommending this or that to help that budget. So I am comfortable with this, but any changes you wanna make, tell me, and I'll be glad to do.
I got one question, Ash. Where does the wind turbine money come in on the budget here?
When turbine money goes to the utilities, that has nothing to do with that. No. We get $4,000 every year as reimbursement to the city. That's the only thing that we get out of the wind turbine, but that's all utilities thing.
I do have something, so I mean, given this talk, I can foresee the rescue unit coming to us. Sean's already came to us and said he wants another ambulance on top of the one he ordered. He's gonna be coming to us just like the cops did, because the cops are a little more ahead, but he's gonna be coming to us and saying, I don't have money in my for the radios, and we need to upgrade our radios. Are we prepared for that?
they're upgraded.
All the rescues are
Yeah, I
upgraded?
thought they got,
Uh, I don't mean to speak on behalf of the rescue, but they got some from Adair County, and they did just get a grant that you guys paid for, the remaining balance
Yeah,
for the
remember that.
700
So the only
radios.
radios we have that
So-
need to be upgraded is fire.
So my question to you on that is kind of where I'm leading, or where I was going. Every single grant I write from now on, actually, one of them, the DNR grant, got almost $4,000 for half of some radios and stuff. You know, you guys are paying for all these others, and I know Corey, you said it's not apples to apples, but you know, we're doing good for ourselves. So sometimes it almost feels as if we're getting penalized for that as well.
No.
You get what I'm saying? Somewhat.
and
So, and sometimes those are just, you know, feelings or whatever, but I mean, I got 8 trucks down there that are gonna need radios, $5,000 a pop.
And why didn't we, as a city, buy all these radios together? When we got some kind of a deal, if we bought them for the fire rescue?
So when they first started, Corey, these mobile radios were, you know, $6,000-7,000, and they've come down to about $5,000 a piece. But the cops were forced to do it for safety reasons first, and now since the counties are starting to switch over, now it's time for fire EMS services to do so as well. Granted, I realize this isn't like being able to make a bag with any of those guys, but I do feel bad for those guys who don't have the reserve that Stuart Fire Department does or the town does to help offset some of that cost. But it's a reality that's going to be coming your guys' way too. So
Yeah, I just feel like we should have probably bought them all
Well,
in one shot.
we had that grant, what was that? I can't remember.
The grant that we partially gave to the cops for their stuff and then,
Oh, yeah.
So,
It was
some,
covered.
yeah, some of it went to, I think, for one of your projects, Jim.
It was all earmarked for a manhole rehab project. but then
Those
part of it-
police got
Yep.
some,
Part of it was peeled off to take care of those radios.
Right,
yes.
right.
Yeah, the police got some, and then the remaining we give it to the street for the manhole project.
So I don't know if, if we had, cause I'm not the FEMA guy. If we had used that grant, if we could have figured something else for the,
Yes.
for the manhole thing, we would have done
Big
something
thing.
different, something
Well,
like that, so.
one other question, I'm a volunteer, I spend quite a bit of time up there anyways, or at my house doing stuff. But it'd be nice if some of the city hall employees could possibly look at grants for that as well, and maybe help out with some of that stuff for all three emergency services. Because I know Guthrie County putting together something real soon for a central EMS service since it was passed through legislature. So, that's something you guys are gonna have to provide.
just as, is it a side note, can we look at maybe how much the radios are gonna cost to upgrade all fire radios? Just get a price and try to figure that out beforehand, just to get a feel for what it's gonna be.
All of them, you're looking probably 75,000.
Does that mean your portables as well?
You're probably the portable that we got off this grant was $5,600 for it.
You said 7,500 or 75 cents.
75,000
To do all.
to do all fire.
And it falls in the same category as the police department, that's our line when we're out there on the interstate, because, I've had personal experience, I know you've had personal experience where you're trying to talk truck to truck, and you can't hear anything. You just can't hear it. You might be just over a hill, and there's nothing there, so you kind of fly blind, or if you're out in the field someplace.
So I think having this discussion, the council coming up with some sort of a game plan possibly, would be a great idea. At least the door's open now. But I'm sure all department heads again are thankful for the 7% because it's something.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, council members, anything you want to say?
Jeff,
May I ask, so the total levy you're proposing is 1460?
Yeah.
And what's the debt service out of that?
280. 287.
What is it in per thousand terms?
It's 3.25.
Okay, so 1460 less 3.25, that's 1135. So that comes up short of the numbers on page 9 of what we talked about on January 4th. So that hurts your tip revenues going forward. A decision for the council, but
So those numbers in your report, that's to cover that 1.9 that we certified? Is that right?
and for future years, and that the counties have told me that they have to use what's in place now for the next year's tip certification for the consolidated levy. So it has to be increased by the city in order for that to be used as a new benchmark for generating tip revenues. Otherwise, they won't use it unless the city changes their levy. So
and what did you recommend us to go up to?
$12.30, about $1 higher.
No, well,
So it'd be 1560 if you went up $1
yeah,
higher.
1552.
I'm only referring to just the total levy minus the debt levy per 1,000. So it's just the levy for operations, in other words.
But, and while doing that, didn't you say in the years 29, 30, will be setting better
way better, you bet.
if we do this.
It's from FY '24 to FY '29, that TIF is very tight. So, those are the years when nobody wants to say this, but the years when it's important to have a higher consolidated levy. So,
What's the highest levy we've had here?
that's in your handout from June 4th.
It was high, like 18.
It's been $20.70 in fiscal year 14-15. So that's over,
It's not really different.
not quite, well,
How much of a
almost
difference is
$6
it?
higher.
For,
It was $20.70 per thousand in FY 14-15, so about $6 higher than the 14.60, $6.10.
we raise it the dollar, what is that per thousand on your property taxes?
Yeah, look at per 100,000 of assessed value home, take 100,000, roll back to 55,000, $1 times 55,000 per year, what is that, $55?
Which is,
So that's $4 and change per month.
which is less than a
So
gallon.
you had 3 different options in that,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
And of course, you don't really recommend anything. You say this is what it would take to get here, right? You're
I
not,
recommend it just because there's such a TIF
Right.
debt burden.
right.
And if you want to keep a higher sustainable operating budget.
So if we went with any of the other options on there for next year.
Right.
How does that hurt us if, like, let's say we went with the middle one, whatever that was. I
Yeah.
can't remember. It was like, what, 3, 4, and I can't remember
It
what
was
it was.
5% and the total levy is 15.25.
That's
per
the middle one?
Right.
That's the middle option? And then and then if we increase it, the next year had to increase it. The thing is if we increase it the full amount, are we going to be prepared to increase it again the year after? You know,
That's the question.
that's a
That's right.
possibility. And I know we kind of had a resolution, not a resolution, a financial framework, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That we try to stay within that $15
Yes.
thing and keep that $1 million, but I understand we have to do something. So I'm not against, I'm just saying, if we raise it to the full amount, then are we gonna have the stomach to go to 16 or 17 the next year? You know, if we need to, or if we keep it in the middle, and then we can bump it up a little bit more that next year.
So like half this year and half next year.
It's something like, I'm just throwing that out there because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, if you shoot the whole thing, you know, and then, oh, well, next year, now we gotta go up, now we're into the 16 and a half. You know, we've not stayed in the financial framework that we kind of agreed to, which we don't have to. I mean, we don't have to.
It was
do that,
subject
right?
to
I mean,
change by future
I mean, we
councils.
could go to 20, right, if we wanted to.
In theory.
We got, if I live it for everything, numbers here,
It's like
you
30,
look at it, it's half of what it costs.
it'd be like $30, right?
That 49 for quite a lot, but that should be
I
80
haven't seen the budget, so.
if I did the lean.
Chip, what happens if we
Like
do
what
it
the-
at like 50, we'd go 50 cents this year and 50 cents next year? Is it, I mean,
Wasn't the problem, it could go, I
That's,
mean, it could be, if we went $1 this year, we could remain the same or even go up. I mean,
you
we
could, the reason you could remain the same is that we very precisely pinpoint the TIF asking. If you lessen the valuation that's required for TIF, that gives you more for operations. And I attempted to show that on one of the slides. So you can do it one time, and by having less TIF coming in FY '25, then your base is going to be available to fund operations. So you can keep the levy the same. If your valuation growth trend continues, your levy could be the same, say 15 and a quarter, 15 and 50, and the growth could be 4%, because you got much more tax base to work with to fund operations.
then we're having
You'll have
more,
25, perhaps 30 million instead of 18 million.
then we're gonna have more for operating for the departments.
Right, and you won't have to spend on reserves.
I mean, it's not that much, and it kind of, I mean, for me, I feel like it's gonna help us in the long.
For when things come up, like they tend to come up as the Stuart marketing downtown, the later agenda item, number 5. You can't do things like that if you really keep the levy tight.
Right.
You can if you tweak it a little bit.
Matt,
I want to say, I was gonna wait till later on I want to drop a bug in your ear as well.
come on,
But
microphone.
I was just gonna bring this up later on, but I want to ask the city council as well at some point. We've got some plans, speaking with people in the community, I would like to start moving forward with a recreation center. I'd like to put some more attention on trails. I would like to see about putting some improvements into our athletic complex. But to do this, we can get grants, so I'm not asking for the city to pay for this. But in order to get the engineering performed, what kind of a structure do we need? What kind of improvements need to be done? Requires engineering, which requires the services of B&K. So at some point, I would like to approach the city council about potentially thinking about putting $10,000 towards engineering to put some thought into some of the amenities that many people in the community have been asking for. And I think that those types of amenities would be good for the community as well, but to go along with what Chip was talking about and our emergency services, our community needs some other advancements. There's something to start thinking about. If you're too close-minded to it now, you'll have nothing next year. So just something to think about. Try to keep that open. Don't restrict yourself now. And then a year from now, which weren't so tight. Just something to think about. Thank you.
Chip, I got a question. Phase 1 and phase 2 are fully on our tax rolls now, right? Phase 3, there's still homes coming in, or do you know?
That's correct. I think there's even, according to the assessor's website, there's 11 homes that are still in Seed's name from phase 3.
Okay.
If some of those are in flux in terms of ownership changing, that might be the case.
Warren?
Just a minor technicality, there's one lot in phase 2 that does not have a home on it. And everybody says, nobody's gonna build on it until we do that street that goes north and have if you can put a house on it facing east, then it will sell.
That's the one that's gonna reform into 4, or.
It'll be a phase 4,
Yeah.
right,
Adjacent to
And-
the lot that's gonna be the farm.
right.
Park, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Right. So there's one lot that's not on the tax rolls in phase 2.
So, hey, Chip, if we go to 1552, what did you say the monthly impact was to the guy that $150,000 home?
Per 100,000 of home assessed value, that's taxed at 55,000 per 100,000, roll back to 55%. Take 55 times $1, that's $55 a year, divided by 12, it's 4 and change per month. So,
Ash, what would your, the benefit of keeping it the same, obviously, initial benefit, right? Do we foresee, and maybe this is both of you question, if we keep it at 1460, next year, are our hands gonna be tied as far as that number could hit 16 something? Unless we're taking.
I'll tell you, I think a lot of it depends on what the costs, the construction bids come in for phase 4. And then that means how much more is needed to pay, quote, new TIF debt that's not currently accounted for. So,
And how big of a hole, I know you hit on it, but I don't know if you give us like a concrete or an estimate on, if we keep it at 1460, what are we losing out on there for TIF? Because you did the numbers, right, and we were, so if we were at think what was where we said 1135.
So I think their net result was getting the consolidated TIF levy about $2 higher to about $32 versus now it's about 30. So your TIF valuation for next year is, I think 63 million. 60. This is the material first. Any other items that we should?
Is this what you need?
And maybe that's not that big of a deal, or maybe no one.
No, I'll tell you, it's the most important number that we're
Right,
talking
that's
about.
what I was thinking, but I don't know if we, like, truly, I don't know if we said that number at all.
Okay. So it generates, the city's TIF valuation for FY '24 is 68,230,000. So if you raise that consolidated levy $2, just take 2 times 68, comma 230, that's another 136,460 per year. So it just brings in that much more TIF revenue. What's it maybe more in more meaningful terms? It if you compare 2 years ago in FY '21, the city's TIF valuation was 52.7 million. The consolidated levy was $32.5. That $35.5. That $35.5 generated $1.9 million in TIF revenue. For FY, it's $10 million higher. The consolidated levy is $5 per thousand less, and you're getting the same TIF revenue. So it takes 10 million with a consolidated levy. I'm trying to compromise. I'm not trying to suggest consolidated levies we had 5 years ago, 8 years ago.
What
trying to compromise
what
it.
was that consolidated levy?
It was $35.50.
What
for
what's
FY
the-
'21.
What's the percentage on that? What's, I mean, like, what are we talking?
20%, 19, or
How much? What's the change? I mean,
No, like, was it like the $20 per thousand or?
the city's piece, is that maybe? The city's portion was, city levy was $16.5. So it's about not quite $2 higher than what it is now. You're $14.60 versus $16.50.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like, what was our
That's-
portion?
The city's, and what's the great thing? The citizens got a lower tax levy. That's awesome. But it hurts our ability to capture TIF revenue. And if you have a less levy applied to the TIF valuation, you need more TIF value. That pulls more and more TIF value away from the base. So that hurts the city. It really hurts. So it's
So, Ash, if we were to change this, it's done by motion?
No, just tell
Or
me
we
what
just
percentage you
tell you?
want, then I can do it like that. It's just tell me what percentage you want. But I'm giving you 1460, you wanna make it
What was the number you wrote in
16?
there?
No, you just.
I mean, I'm okay with, for me,
city's
I'm
levy,
okay with
yeah.
moving it up a dollar, because we're gonna get
20
more and it's gonna help more to our town. But that's just me, I mean, there's 4 other people
Trying to
sitting here
find
that I said.
my thing.
All you need to tell me is just what the tax rate you want, and I will go put it here, because.
Chip, would that give us a little more cushion too? We've got quick start coming in, some of the business. Can you and say, hey,
It would.
are there any businesses where the TIF's getting close to dropping off right now?
the TIF debt that gets paid off in FY after June 30, 2029. That's some of the earlier housing phases.
Okay.
Carl Chevrolet goes until maybe FY fiscal year 36. Ways ago, yeah.
So, I mean, to shorten this.
Downtown just got paid off.
Yeah, and I'm okay going up, I mean, for me, I'm okay going up $1. I don't think it's all that much. I don't know how you guys
So do
feel.
we need to go to 15?
51, that's here.
Or, sorry, the 15,525.
1551. If
That's
you,
like-
if you wanna go with 1551, that will take item number 7. That 49, you make that 65,500, that will give you the 1551.
Now say that again, Ash.
Item number 30, if you take 49,000 for FICA and IPAS,
Uh-huh.
make it 65,500.
May I offer another way of looking at it is you can adjust the levy and just spend down your reserves less.
That's okay too.
Okay, so that's ready, the 1551.
I appreciate you, Ash. You're trying to keep everything, you're doing good. I appreciate that.
No, not a problem, I'm here to help the town, taxpayers, council, everybody.
Yeah.
This is what the 1551. All you have to do is just take that item number 30 from 49,000, make it 65,500, will get the rate of 1551.
Jim and I was talking today where we got a sewer plant that's gonna need more money, the swimming pool's gonna need more money. Stuff's getting old in those buildings.
So yeah, with this, and I understand we have to do something, my biggest concern is,
That's what I think, but
we're gonna see it go up,
I think so.
probably back up to that $20 at some point, especially and keep doing a bunch of projects.
Gosh, if the economy wasn't what it is now,
Yeah, and that's
that's when you make a whole easier decision.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly, that's
To see my neighbors up and down the street, and that's tough to swallow to say. But I respect what you're saying. I mean, it's better for the town, yes, but to see everybody, our neighbors and everybody else and say, sorry.
Maybe perhaps there's a compromise then, and I understand it's not an easy decision.
No, it's not very easy.
Maybe it's, instead of 1550, maybe you go to 15, or you do 15 and a quarter, or 1510, and look at 15.4 next year.
That's, and again, I've said it already, I said, that gives us that wiggle room. While it's not, we can get the most bang for the buck right here, but what happens next year, when you need more now, your only option is to 16.
You gotta be diligent every year.
And keep going, you just go higher. If you do it 15 and a quarter, then you can go up 1550 or 1540, and you do it incrementally. But that's my take on it.
So are we thinking maybe going up to 15 and a quarter this year and then looking at raising it next year?
Here's, if you go to 1551, and that's what Chip was proposing.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a silly question here, and maybe this goes to you, Chip, but are we needing to raise this just for phase 4?
I think it's two factors. It's to help fund a higher city operating budget within the framework of a slightly smaller tax base for operations. It's the higher city operating budget, and it's better positioning the city to have more annual TIF revenue, which helps the funding picture for phase 4. It's both.
I guess my question is, what if we took a time out on phase 4? I know I'm gonna make a lot of friends when I'm saying this, because everybody's gonna hate me,
I
but,
have an idea along those lines too, so I'll.
right, I was just, because we don't know what the housing market's gonna do. Mortgage interest is climbing, so if we do phase 4, is it gonna just sit there?
But we
So
also,
that's one thing that we need to look at too, we build this thing, and are we gonna get the homes out there? Are we gonna attract the people when everything else is skyrocketing right now?
Fair question.
but don't we also have like 8 businesses downtown that could potentially be looking at TIF funds? I mean, to grow our downtown.
You have that, you have, phase 4, we don't even know what the bids are yet,
Right.
we just gotta wait on that, that's the unfortunate thing.
so we know what we're up against.
But Chip, real quick, interest rates are climbing, but they're not near as high as what they were quite a few years.
They're down from, they're back to normal. I'll tell you, they're down a lot from late October. Late October, generic benchmark was 4.25%, and today, 8.5%.
I think he's talking mortgage rates, which.
Yeah.
They were close to 7, now they're 6.5-ish.
Yeah, my thing is our operating, if we're looking at this, our operating is gonna go up, and our departments are needing more money. And that's benefiting the townspeople. So, I mean, granted, so if we go up to 525, we're not raising it that much. $2, I mean, you said it was like 4 something if we do the full, be like half of that, so 2. So that's not even, that's like, that's nothing, that's a pop.
It's not even a dollar.
Can you come
Yeah.
up to the microphone, please?
I just want to get back to Corey's point, because I think this is really important. Phase 4 is more than just the housing development. A big chunk of that is in the Harlan Street sewer, which is an imminent issue, even if we don't add any more houses, and it's going to be cost down the line. And as Mike pointed out, there's going to be 3, there's your rate base bid and 2 alternatives. So, you know, we don't have to, you know, if the house, because that worries me too, you know, what direction the housing market's going to take. But the other thing, and of course, like Christina said, the other projects that we're anticipating using that TIF money on, but man, you don't want to lose out on this TIF funding. That's been a good deal for Stuart. We've got a lot of towns around us that are really envious of the position we're in, and it's going to cost our neighbors property taxes if we lose out on that stream of TIF revenue. That's something the state's backfilling. If we don't use those dollars are going to go for economic development somewhere else. So I really urge you to heed Chip's advice, because he's really looking out for us.
If you look at page 7 in the January 4th material, that has the structure of the city's debt. So an idea to solve or potentially alleviate some of the stress on the city's TIF askings, you could, and I talked to after the last the January 4th meeting a little bit about this, you can't do a short-term borrowing for the construction period of phase 4 as kind of a temporary note or kind of a construction note, and then do the long-term financing in, let's say, 2 years when the construction's done. And what that allows is you have the ability then to, if you award phase 4, then you could layer in the debt service. You'll have, you advance 2 years in time, you can layer in the debt service in these later years when the existing debt, this is existing debt only, when those later years are a heck of a lot lower. So you get, if you do a short-term borrowing, you can pay in a lot better in those years. When
Use somebody else's money.
It's a little bit of what TIF is.
Matt, you got.
Corey raised some questions that I've heard plenty of time before. One, the phase 4 housing development, even if everything was approved now, which it isn't, let's say everything was ironed out and all the details were fine, you say, let's go ahead. By the time you get the dirt work and all the construction done, the earliest you're looking at something that could be ready to have houses built is a year. Realistically, we're probably looking at a year and a half. The economy's gonna change between now and then. So it has the potential to get better.
Yeah.
Very good
Guaranteed, good economy happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, but, so people often bring up the interest rates. Okay. In the real estate industry, I've been speaking to some other agents, and our consensus is that the consumer needs to, or will become adjusted to what used to be a normal interest rate. We've had record lows. They were
bound to go back up at some point. So the consumer will become adjusted. Some people have to move. Some people don't have a choice, whether it's changing jobs or other various reasons. So that they move, people leaving Iowa are gonna move to another state, but people leaving another state are gonna move to Iowa. So it's an endless cycle. So as the consumer gets accustomed to that, the home sales will rebound. And we're still looking at a year and a half. And another thing that's a big benefit, if the interest rates do go up any higher, that's a benefit to us. Because we are offering, we have lots you can get for free. Currently, a comparable lot in Waukee will be going for over $100,000. The builders out here are passing this savings on to the consumer. So these consumers are able to purchase a home around $100,000 less compared to any other community that's thriving around us. So if I can buy a house $100,000 less, but I got to pay a 7% interest rate potentially, let's say, they think the average should be around 6.5.
But that's just for the first buyer. So when that buyer turns around and sells it for $100,000 more because they're selling the lot and everything with it, and that second buyer is one that's paying the price.
After the property matures, 10, 15, 20 years later.
I guess, and I knew I'd spark both of you gentlemen when I made that comment. But, as I look at some residents in the other part of town, they're saying their taxes getting raised, and their mind is going straight up there.
They're not getting it.
They're not getting them. So when we start talking about this, we gotta think of the whole town of Stuart, not just what we wanna do. Because there's a lot of things that we need to do in the other part of town, not just out here. Sewer line, I get we need to fix that. And I get that phase will pay for that. I get it. But I'm sitting on the fence. I gotta be fair to everybody, not just what everybody wants out here.
Does this decision have to be made tonight, or can we push it off till the February meeting?
No, we can't. Now we need to decide because we work on a time frame. We have two choices now. Thank you, Matt. We have two choices there. Yes.
Just so you're operating all facts, I think it's pretty clear. I think Chip's trying to demonstrate without TIF, we wouldn't be looking at a $15 per thousand. We'd be looking at $20 per thousand. Look at Greenfield, the community is not using TIF. That used to be the community that Stuart aspired to be.
We've outgrown both.
We've outgrown both the county seats. So that has been a benefit for all the property taxpayers.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Matt.
Gonna have
I'm
to
on the-
add here, though, the housing developments, they've been lucrative to Stuart. We're making money on the housing development. After the property taxes pay off that debt, the revenue never stops coming in.
They funded quite a few projects around here, that maybe some people don't realize,
Gosh, can we take time out
Time out.
For like
Let's take time out.
2 minutes?
5 minutes.
Time out.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm ready for time out.
We're finished.
What was the?
So,
I thought you were good with me. But then you're not.
So the only solution. Let's write those. Because, I said
To
something.
continue
the
suicide line. I just don't want.
To
do.
daughter just started one where they found out in Phoenix. They drove her down there.
Your house and turn.
So.
Six.
Like we have to
Sure.
I don't have.
So,
Right.
Well, I don't see it as a board.
Turnout wasn't. Really, yeah. So yeah, that's what I took a lot more breaks on the way back.
That's what we're doing.
City's the new smoke.
I move all day long, so to sit and drive to the morning just freaks me out. I can't do it.
There goes my plan, truck ride, fall back.
Well, they still get to that, but.
Right, but it's a little pain now.
Okay, here's that conclusion now. You all have two pages. One shows tax rate of 14.60. One shows tax rate of 15.51.
Boy, that was fast.
Okay. All right, so either one is fine. You can decide on either one and you'll be in good shape because you're not far from each other. You're talking about 91 cents difference. So feel comfortable to make that decision tonight because I'm working on a time frame. I have to go from tonight to continue work here to finish it up. In the morning, it has to be sent to the paper. So I feel comfortable either way. 1460 or 1551, I'm comfortable. You choose.
I'm okay with the 1551.
Okay.
I am too. I really think, I hear what you're saying, Corey. I totally get that. But it's, I think, for me, I'm looking at it, long-term investment. Long-term, that money that's gonna come back to us is going to save everybody,
I agree with you.
you know, to some extent. Now,
All right, so.
And we just need to be cautious when we're looking at the phase 4, that we're not just throwing money out there like Corey said, and these people on the inside, what we call infield, you know, we're just not throwing stuff out there, but.
No, you're good, so I get the consent, you okay, Mike? It was 1551?
No, but that's all right, if you have a major consensus, then you just have to go with that.
so like you said, Mike,
You know.
I mean, we haven't even prices for 4. I mean, we haven't looked at a lot of things.
Even if we do increase it, I mean, it doesn't mean we have to start phase 4.
Right.
I mean, we can still put that, but, yeah, gosh, I'm just on the fence because I do listen to Chip. I have a lot of respect for that gentleman. And if he's saying this is the path you need to go, but I'm just looking over here at the neighbors because it's a tough time for him as well. You know, whenever he goes to the gas station and goes to the grocery store and everything else, it's tough for them as well. So, and now we're asking them to dig in their pockets a little deeper for us. I get it. I see both sides. I'm on the fence.
So we're good with 1551?
Somebody wanna make a motion?
No, don't make a motion because everything after that will be just formality. We'll have nothing in this part. Okay, we'll go to 1551. The only change will be on the next page that you will be seeing in the paper. The one in your hand saying 14 actually will be only minus 7.58. It's still reduction, not increase. So I take the consent from everybody that the tax rate is 15.51 as you have it in your hand. We're good. That conclude the, okay, all right, we're good, we're all good. Mike?
What's your thoughts? You haven't really said much, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I've already said my part, I've already said it, you may have, a couple different people on the council next year, I don't know, and then you'll have to come up and decide, do you need to go higher, you know?
Is that what you want to do? You want to go higher?
No, I wouldn't say for 15 and a quarter, you know, because, you know, my view is if, you know, I know Chip says if you do that full amount, you're gonna capture the most. That's the way it is, right? He didn't say that's what you have to do. That's the most. He gave us 3 options, you know, and said you got to decide on where you're comfortable on that. For me, being in the middle there gives us that flexibility, or the next council to go up again if they so choose to want to stay in that framework, you know. That's what I pledged to do when it was introduced and Brian brought it out, to stay in that. And maybe 1551, you know, looking at maybe 1551 is, and then the next council can do whatever they want to.
I mean, they don't have to, the next council doesn't have to raise it, it can stay the same.
It can, yeah.
I mean,
If we look at the way things are going, you know.
I guess
Okay.
that conclusion, so we're good, 1551. Now, everything is gonna happen with the budget from now until March. It's all formality. No other issue, because we talk hour and a half, 2 hours. So now I would ask the council to pass that resolution to set a date for a public hearing on the maximum levy,
The date will be what,
February 13th.
so moved.
Okay, by Renzo, second by Morgan, how do you vote? Dolly?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Morgan? Yes. Kavah?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, Jim Henderson's cemetery mowing contract.
Okay, we put in, and we emailed you that memorandum from the city attorney. City attorney doesn't like to share this information with the public, so that allow you to kind of make that decision on the proposed extension of the current mowing that we have with Josh.
And I want to just say I appreciate you doing that
Thank you.
and giving that answer for us. Or somebody, everybody else on that. So I'll move that.
We move to extend the
Yes.
contract
At
with Josh.
the terms, what is it? It's 4,000.
70,000 for 8 months, 4,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Yes,
You made a motion, then Mike.
I did.
Okay, moved by Kavah,
I'll second.
second by Dolly, how do you vote? Dolly?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Morgan? Yes. Kavah?
Yes.
Renzo?
Abstain.
Thank you.
And then you,
Good job, Jim.
mowing all around the city, you're still getting bids?
Yes, the open city bid is due the 30th, so I will have all those numbers compiled for the regular February 13th council meeting. Just as a department head, thank you for the 7% budget increase. Just something, Dick and I were discussing numbers this morning when he stopped at the shop, just for something to relate to that. 7 years ago, when we were pouring concrete, doing street repairs, concrete cost me $70 a yard. This year, when I poured concrete, it was $134 a yard.
Wow.
So in 7 years, it's almost doubled. And a lot of the materials, you're used to the same thing, DOT, a lot of those construction materials have taken a huge increase.
Can I ask you a question? Jim?
Yes, you may.
Have you found anybody?
No, we actually have some, applicants, I will put it that way. We have to,
The only reason I'm
go
asking
through and,
is somebody called me today and asked if it'd been fulfilled, and they sent me a picture, and this is not you doing this. They sent me a picture of the city's website, and it says no open spots on there, on the city's website. Now, I've seen it on Facebook, I've seen it advertised on Facebook. but
and then
I think-
Indeed, we used Indeed as well.
I think it might be beneficial if it's still open to actually put it on our website where
Yeah,
it says
definitely.
positions.
Yeah,
You know, so I just want to check. I know you
Yeah.
don't control that, so.
Yep.
So I don't know.
No, good point. I mean, I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't even aware that that showed on the site. So.
And just for your information, I had mentioned one time possibly we might have to raise Corey and Jim's wages a little bit, to get us third person in there, raise the wages. As we have a person from mid-level going down to a town, El Bridgewater, starting out $24 an hour without any license or anything. For the city. And that's what been our problem is, the last person got a $7 an hour raise. Go back to his job. right now, I want to thank those guys for the amount of time they put in moving snow.
Yeah, you guys done a good job. Good
Thank
job,
you.
thank you.
Okay, finally, Nate, Main Street Marketing. I want to tell you, Nate, I went to the bowling alley and Terry Harrison told me he's thrilled with what you've done with this.
We've,
Business.
yeah, I mean. Well, Matt asked me, you guys asked me to come back, so if you need more.
What's the proposal for, were we looking at just a year?
So the proposal that I put out was, again, kind of a starting point. Obviously, I'm very open to discussion of what the city's needs are. Obviously, budget always comes up. But I think you guys keep selling me for myself. When you say things don't get posted on the website, or part of town doesn't know what something else is doing, you guys are screaming that there needs to be a marketing plan for the city. So you know, the numbers I put out there, so the conversation I had earlier today, like concrete, you know, money doesn't stretch as far as maybe what it used to. And when you start talking all the different channels that you can market, a website, a Facebook account, LinkedIn, you know, Telegram, Reddit, there's so many different places that you need to have a presence as an entity, you know, an organization, a company, you know, a nonprofit, whatever you may be, in your case, you know, the city. There are a lot of people that need to get Stuart's messaging, and I would guess if I asked all of you guys individually right now, you'd all have a completely different answer of what it is that we need to tell people that is going on, whether it's the housing developments, whether it's available commercial properties, whether it's available employment opportunities. And so we need to collectively, and I don't care if it's me, it's whoever, a solidified message moving forward for all of these things. Because right now, the right hand and left hand have no idea usually what the deal is.
So I believe when you handed us the stuff, it was like at least a 12-month commitment.
Yeah, and that's,
approximately $1,200 a month.
yeah, that's what I suggested as, you know, kind of a starting point. And again, you guys certainly want to spend more, you get more bang for your buck. You know, that being said,
So we could do like a 12-month commitment, then maybe you revisit it in 6 months. We still have the remaining 6 months.
yeah,
And see
and that's,
where it's going.
and that's typically what I offer most of my clients is, you know, here's an introduction. It's a partnership, right? If I'm not doing my job, one, you're not gonna go around and give me good reviews, you're not gonna give me any more business. But, you know, two, I'm vested in not just helping the city, but, you know, the businesses in town. I live here, I work here, you know. This is definitely a partnership that I'm looking for. That's why I'm willing to, you know, do things at a rate lower than what you might find from a Des Moines marketing agency.
Nate, I don't have your paperwork with me at the last meeting, but you do Swinger and the bowling alley, what other business?
Yeah, I mean, as far as businesses in town, Schwinger Lawn Care, Stuart Bowl, Wagner Investments, Arts, I'm sure I'm missing a few more. And then some in the chamber, the library here. I mean, so I'm already you know, on the city payroll. So the chamber, you know, we've worked with Matt on different things. You know, RVTV, some of the different events that have come to town. I think you can probably ask any of the business owners. You know, Terry at the bowling alley is giving go interviews right now. We've done some things that maybe were, you know, well overdue, but stuff that he and even some of his patrons didn't think we could do with bowling alley. So none of it's really rocket science. It's more just doing it. And like marketing is one of these things, right, where when you wake up in the morning, and if you own a business, you're lucky to get 3 things on your to-do list done. Well, marketing happens to be 17th on that list. And it's always kind of falls by the wayside. Even though we all would agree your business needs marketing, your organization, your city, it doesn't.
Well, most places have somebody designated to do that.
Right.
And
some do.
Well, yeah, well, you know, like your bigger.
Yeah, bigger places, yes, and bigger cities, bigger chambers all have dedicated marketing.
They all have that, so they don't have to worry about it.
What we run into here with a lot of the smaller, you know, the Main Street type businesses is, you know, the owners are wearing
500 hats. And again, marketing is one of those things that falls down the list. By the time you run your business, you pay the bills, you handle your taxes, you're hiring an attorney, you're hiring somebody to prepare your taxes, you're hiring these other specialists. Marketing tends to be the one that kind of falls by the wayside. And everybody says, I know how to use Facebook, because I'm on it. But no, most people
Effectively,
don't.
it's a
Yeah,
different.
right, surfing it while you're trying to go to sleep at night isn't
Yeah.
an effective way to get your message.
Marketing.
Yeah.
So what would you guys think of, if it's $1,200 a month, that's 14 for a year, seeing if we can split this 4 ways, because everybody's gonna benefit. Chamber, seed, city, and utilities, that'd be $3,600 per group.
Would this eliminate, you already do the chamber.
So, yeah, that would be the one piece that I'd say, that I do have a current contract with the chamber for, for so many hours, so. However that would get maneuvered in there, they already are a client,
Okay.
so I don't know,
So,
asking
or
them
maybe
for.
just splitting this
Between us and the utilities or something.
and maybe even seed.
Well,
I
you-
mean,
we
because
have
the
to
point
have
of,
to
the point of
see
seed is economic development. And he's gonna be marketing our town, so that's part of, that's part of seed. And we've shot this to seed before for thoughts. Didn't Matt bring this to seed's attention? And I'm not saying they have to pay for all of it, but maybe a little bit of it.
Okay. Ironically, I'm the treasurer for seed, and
So you can pay for all of it.
Just-
Hey, Matt.
the budget.
Come up here so we can hear you.
Treasury for seed. Seed does get 50,000 a year from the city. Between the rent that's paid for the depot and the lawn cutting, mowing of the athletic complex, and the other miscellaneous bills that seed has, those bills come up to $49,925 for the year. So,
That's good budget.
it's
$75 extra.
It's very,
Yeah, so don't say you don't have any left over.
so, no, there's not, so, going out and getting estimates for the, lawn mowing, maybe they'll come down that much more, but I doubt it. So,
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm just trying to think of extra ways to pay
No,
for this.
yeah, that's great, but if we were to do this as 14-4, we're okay, I mean.
It would be nice to share the cost, but like he said, he doesn't have the money.
What about utilities, would it benefit?
We gotta have a joint meeting with the utility next week.
Oh, yeah.
Before our regular meeting at 6 o'clock.
Oh.
On the 13th.
So maybe
not
that's
For some reason I
something
thought
we
it was
share
this one, but okay.
with the utility, okay? And don't get me wrong, I am behind you 100%. I am a marketing guy for anything, so to be honest with you. So it's just a matter of trying to find a way to make it kind of work. It would be good to discuss it with the utility if we want to. We have a joint meeting next week.
Okay.
That's something we can talk about.
And then we can make a final decision in February to see what utilities, I'm all for it, because I know
Oh, yeah, I mean.
I know what he did for RVTV,
Yes.
and that event turned out
Yeah, no doubt about it.
huge.
Just kind of figuring out the money and all this stuff. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
So you know you have at least half.
You know where I'll be.
Do you need a motion,
15.
or are we just gonna wait till the February meeting to discuss?
We have it on the joint
Okay.
meeting to discuss.
Yeah.
January, February.
Thanks, Dave.
February 13th.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, thank you, Nate.
You said next week, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I was.
3 weeks.
Getting ready.
Thank you.
What do we got left?
6, quick start. A lot of people talking.
Yes.
Is there really a lot of people talking about it?
No, just.
Oh.
Everybody in the audience is gonna say something.
Well, Wade is here from